If you're like me, you probably check cryptocurrency prices and rankings multiple times a day. I find it funny that no matter how often I check these leaderboards, I frequently find myself being taken by surprise by an altcoin that was hidden in plain sight. Stellar is without a doubt one of these altcoins, and the impressive price action of its Lumens currency in recent weeks has certainly taken the crypto world by surprise. This is partially because Stellar has kept a fairly low profile compared to other crypto projects. You'd be hard-pressed to get an answer other than bull market when asking why XLM seems to be headed for new all-time highs. But what if I told you that the real answer to the stellar performance of Stellar is something much bigger than you could have possibly imagined? My name is Guy, and today I'm going to give you everything you need to know about what Stellar has been up to, where it's headed, and how it might just change the cryptocurrency world forever. I'll also be letting you folks know how I will personally be investing in Stellar, so you won't want to miss that. Before we go into Stellar, I need to bring you all down to earth. I am not a financial advisor, and nothing you see, hear, smell, or taste during this video should be considered financial or investment advice. It's on you to do your due diligence with these crypto projects, and it's on you to decide where to YOLO your hard-earned cash. If you're watching this video and you're too young to invest anyways, I salute you for your interest in the future of finance. And as I mentioned earlier, my name is Guy, and I spend every waking hour of my existence digesting as much information about cryptocurrency as humanly possible. I then compress this information into YouTube videos for your education and entertainment. If this is the sort of content you can get behind, pledge allegiance to the Coin Bureau by hitting up that subscribe button if you haven't already. Pinging that notification bell will make sure that you get these videos while they're hot. And as always, I've added timestamps in the description that you can use to teleport to the information which serves you best. Now, where was I? Ah yes, Stellar. Let's get to it. It's been well over a year since I last covered Stellar, and a lot has changed since then. But before I get into that, I think we all need a quick Stellar refresher. Stellar is a smart contract cryptocurrency that's designed for one thing: the transfer of value. This includes the transfer of tokenized assets, as well as Stellar's native Lumens currency, which goes by the ticker XLM. In contrast to other crypto projects, Stellar is not trying to replace the existing financial system. Instead, it's trying to integrate with it and optimize payment channels between entities like central banks. In Stellar's own words, it wants, quote, all of the world's financial systems to work together on a single network. This has led Stellar to be labeled as a banker coin, along with the likes of Ripple. And speaking of Ripple, did you know that Stellar is a fork of Ripple? Ripple was actually co-founded by Stellar founder Jed McCaleb. Now, Jed is quite famous in the cryptocurrency space because he is also the founder of the now defunct Mt. Gox cryptocurrency exchange. Let's not go there. The story goes that Jed had multiple ideas for Ripple that Ripple's board of directors refused to implement. After repeatedly clashing with the board of directors and other senior staff, Jed left Ripple and founded Stellar in 2014. While there are a lot of similarities between Ripple and Stellar, the biggest difference is that Ripple is corporate, centralized, and for profit, whereas Stellar is intended to be public, decentralized, and non-profit. This ethos is achieved via the Stellar Development Foundation, a non-profit organization based in California which develops Stellar. If you want a deeper dive into the differences between Ripple and Stellar, you can watch my video about that by clicking here. I will quickly add that Ripple and Stellar are not exactly on the best of terms. Moreover, as a co-founder of Ripple, Jed was given 9.5 billion XRP and still has around 4 billion XRP in his coffers. Although he's apparently under a legally binding agreement not to dump his XRP, this has made some XRP holders nervous nonetheless, and his sales of XRP have made the news many times since he left Ripple. But this isn't the only reason why Stellar has been in the news. Let's now take a trip back to the good old days of 2019. In March 2019, former Mozilla COO Denell Dixon took the reins at the Stellar Development Foundation as their new CEO. Not even 2 months later, Denell detailed the new direction Stellar would be heading in. She explained that while Stellar would continue to focus on things like technology and decentralization, it would be amping up its market initiatives and ecosystem development. However, this marketing and development would not be geared towards those in the crypto space. It would be geared to financial institutions and regulators with whom Stellar wants to engage with as much as possible. In September, Stellar announced that it would be allowing its network of validators to vote to disable the annual inflation of Lumens. Validators voted in favor of the proposal, and XLM inflation was removed with the Protocol 12 upgrade in October. For those of you who didn't know, XLM initially had an inflation rate of 1% per year. This decision to have inflation in the first place was somewhat odd given that validators on the Stellar network do not actually earn mining rewards. Instead, they're incentivized to run the network by the benefits it brings to them. Consequently, almost all Stellar's validator nodes are corporate entities, which is Stellar's target demographic. Furthermore, around 80% of XLM's initial supply of 100 billion was allocated to the Stellar Development Foundation, which means that they were the ones being affected the most by this annual inflation rate. In addition to coming to their senses about XLM inflation, Stellar also burned over 55 billion of their XLM in November and reallocated their remaining 30 billion XLM to marketing, user acquisition, and other expansionary initiatives. Even though the burn accounted for over 50% of XLM's total supply, it did not have a very big impact on price. This is because none of the XLM that was already in circulation was burned. Still, this change in tokenomics and direction seems to have paid off for Stellar. By the end of 2019, the Stellar team had grown from 11 to 56. Denell had begun making headways with regulators in Washington, D.C. The number of XLM accounts had doubled, and the number of validators on the Stellar network had increased 5-fold. This brings us to 2020. 2020 has been a very busy year for Stellar. In February, Stellar completely redesigned their website to be more user-friendly. They also released their mandate, which gives an incredibly detailed breakdown of how they're spending their 30 billion XLM and even shows you the current balances of their various accounts. Then things started to get a little spooky. In April, Stellar partnered with Elliptic, a blockchain analysis firm backed by Wells Fargo. The goal of this partnership is to ensure that all businesses using Stellar, including cryptocurrency exchanges, are abiding by the financial laws and regulations of their respective countries. At the Consensus Distributed event in May, Denell Dixon made it clear that Stellar is looking to be the blockchain on which central banks will build their central bank digital currencies over the next 5 years. In case you missed it, almost every major government around the world is planning to roll out a CBDC over the next few years, and they're turning to stablecoin companies to help them build the tech, while turning to the crypto space to find the blockchains on which their CBDCs will be built. I covered this in depth in a recent video, which you can watch right here. In June, Stellar introduced something called fine-grained control as part of its Protocol 13 upgrade. This made it possible to automatically block accounts built on Stellar from engaging in transactions that violate financial laws and regulations. This would make it very easy to enforce something like the recent proposal by FinCEN to require KYC for all digital transactions involving more than $250. Doesn't sound very crypto to me. In September, Denell Dixon spoke at a virtual event about blockchain hosted by the United States House Financial Services Committee. In it, Denell flaunted the numerous fiat currencies which have been tokenized on Stellar by institutions in countries such as Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, and Nigeria. She also emphasized the use of KYC in all of Stellar's institutional endeavors. Then the real spookiness began. In October, the Circle Consortium announced that they would be launching the USDC stablecoin on the Stellar network in January 2021. That same month, Denell Dixon was a panelist for the IMF's online event about cross-border payments. At the end of the month, Stellar put out a video which reviewed their accomplishments during the third quarter of 2020. These included cozying up to the World Economic Forum, whom they have been engaging with since July. According to the video update, Stellar had over 25 meetings with the World Economic Forum, OCC, and other national and international monetary bodies in Q3 alone. Stellar will also apparently be playing a pivotal role in the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is an integral part of the World Economic Forum's Great Reset. You can get my no-nonsense breakdown of the Great Reset by watching this video here. To top this all off, Stellar's annual Meridian event featured the World Economic Forum's head of blockchain and digital currency, along with the former president of the World Bank. This is some serious stuff, but it certainly begs the question: what does all this mean for the Lumens cryptocurrency? Now, I'm just going to put it out there. I am damn bullish on XLM. For starters, every transaction on the Stellar network is paid for using XLM. Thanks to Stellar's willingness to bend to the wishes of every financial institution they come across, they've actually managed to make some headway when it comes to being the blockchain for cross-border payments and CBDCs. Stellar has made incredible strides in adoption since Donnell Dixon became the CEO, and every single bank, business, and government using Stellar today and tomorrow will pay fees in XLM. Oh, by the way, remember that USDC integration I talked about? Well, turns out that USDC is becoming pretty damn popular with large financial institutions. For example, it was recently announced that Visa would be integrating USDC in its payments network. With over 60 million merchants, I don't need to tell you the significance of this move. And remember, all USDC that is sent on Stellar will incur a fee in Lumens, all price positive. Moreover, Stellar's decision to rework the tokenomics of XLM by removing inflation and burning more than half of its supply suggests to me that they're looking to support the value of XLM. This is only logical, considering that the higher the XLM price, the more money the Stellar Foundation will have to play with. Now, I know that Stellar's validator nodes technically voted for this change in tokenomics, but considering most of these validators are being operated by the Stellar Foundation and the same legacy institutions that they're in bed with, it's not exactly a true democracy. That brings me to another point. Even though I'm super bullish on the short to medium term price of XLM, it's not a crypto I'm very comfortable with in the long term. Allow me to explain. Firstly, Stellar is moving closer and closer towards the very same financial institutions that cryptocurrency is supposed to replace. And with each upgrade to the Stellar protocol, holders of XLM seem to be getting less and less financial freedom. Not only that, but Stellar is serving itself up to unelected international organizations that do not seem to have our best interests at heart. So why would I support such a project by holding their currency? Well, the same reason why I invest in smaller cap altcoins, to stack up on some sats. After all, it seems like centrally controlled digital currencies are coming, and the only way we can truly protect ourselves is by putting our wealth into cryptocurrencies we know and trust. In my books, taking advantage of the hype around banker coins like XLM is a good way to do just that. We can easily separate out the favorable short to medium-term tokenomics from the longer-term motivations of the Stellar Development Foundation. One can both appreciate the promise of Stellar's technology to transform global payments while still be concerned about the entities it is aligning itself with. To wrap things up, I want to give you my take on what I think is going to happen with Stellar over the coming years. I think that Stellar is going to continue having success in its partnerships with governments, financial institutions, and borderline terrifying international organizations. I think that we will see many CBDCs built on Stellar. I think that Stellar will continue to play around with its tokenomics and user permissions to appease stakeholders and regulators. But then I do expect Stellar to face a lot of pushback from the crypto community. Why? Because while Stellar is busy catering to fat cats and bureaucrats, thousands of other cryptocurrency projects are working day and night to create truly decentralized platforms that will replace the centralized cabal Stellar has aligned itself with. It's only a matter of time before a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Ethereum becomes too large or too powerful to shut down. I think the likelihood of that happening is much higher than centralized authorities would have you think. Certainly higher than the chance of the World Economic Forum, or IMF, getting all their ducks in a row, to launch the sort of totalitarian money systems they envision. When that day comes, banker coins like Stellar may become obsolete, as they never truly served the interests of the average person to begin with. You could argue that some degree of regulation and compliance in the cryptocurrency space is necessary, and I agree. But I also think that there needs to be a middle ground there, and Stellar seems to be firmly aligned with the status quo, ergo, not the middle ground. On the bright side, there is a sort of failsafe that's pre-programmed into centralized systems, and that is that as power becomes more concentrated in the hands of the few, the reward for breaking ranks and rallying the many become higher and higher. In my estimation, this is what has made cryptocurrency so successful. Cryptocurrency is something that's outside of the financial system. It's a break away from a centralized monetary system where power is in the hands of a few individuals, corporations, and organizations. If these systems were perfect, Bitcoin would never have been invented, and even if it had been, nobody would have seen the need for it and it would have faded into obscurity. But as we all know, that need is there, and it will continue growing stronger as the existing monetary system becomes more corrupt and unstable. It's a damn shame that Stellar does not seem to see this, but who knows? Maybe they do, and they're just playing along until the day comes to pull the rug out from under all those big banks. Now, wouldn't that be something? Alright gang, that's all I've got to say about Stellar for today. As you've seen and heard, Stellar has accomplished a lot over the last year. Ever since Donnell Dixon became the CEO of the Stellar Development Foundation in 2019, Stellar has been growing at an exponential pace by every measure. The paradigm shift in the project's vision under her leadership, along with critical changes to XLM's tokenomics and allocations, set the stage for the current calendar year. Going into 2020, Stellar has a workforce that is 5 times larger and had put itself on the radar of big players both inside and outside of the cryptocurrency space. However, as time went on, it became clear that Stellar's allegiance was to the existing monetary system and not the cryptocurrency space. This was revealed through various network upgrades which have arguably favored compliance and regulation at the expense of user freedom, and the Stellar Development Foundation's apparent obsession with various 3-letter organizations that seek to maximize their control over the lives of others. While their success in wooing entities like the IMF, World Economic Forum, OCC, and others is concerning, it nonetheless paints a promising picture for the future price action of Lumens, which will power all of the transactions being sent by and between these financial institutions and their constituents. Stablecoins and central bank digital currencies seem to be Stellar's bread and butter, and the crown of international payments processor might just be theirs for the taking. That said, any investments into XLM should be made with the awareness that it is a network that's been slowly transferred to the hands of the sorts of people true cryptocurrencies seek to dethrone. In this regard, Stellar is likely to face challenges as cryptocurrency projects emerge from the ether of the internet to wage war against the financial system Stellar has allied itself with. In any case, it's going to be one hell of a ride, and you can bet that if the world isn't watching Stellar now, they might just be very soon. I know that I'll be watching, and I will be sure to let you know what I see when I see it. If you enjoyed this video, remember to drop me a like. It goes a long way, and it goes even further if you also subscribe and hit up that notification bell. My next video is just around the corner, and you don't want to miss it. Now then, there is just one more thing that we have to address: my investment into Stellar. Well, I will be adding a small allocation of it to my personal portfolio. I'll let you know exactly how and when I do so in my weekly newsletter, exclusively for insiders of this channel. Oh, you want to be an insider too? Don't worry, becoming one is quite easy and doesn't cost a cent. All you need to do is head on over to the description and subscribe to my weekly newsletter. In it, I give you a breakdown of my broader cryptocurrency holdings, sneak peeks into what projects and topics I'll be covering, and a whole bunch of other cool crypto content you need in your life. If you want to help support the channel, you can do so while looking stylish by buying one of these t-shirts on the Coin Bureau merch store. Link to that is also in the description. And with that, folks, I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next one.